Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna devotees. So today, does anyone know the name of the chapter today? You all can unmute yourself. I have not logged. So if you know the name, just type in the chat and let me start off with Mangalacharan. Today is the second chapter. And I'll start. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimurandasya Jnananjala Chalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Brahma Kadamaya Dadati Swapadatikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Veshgopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhansute Devi Pranamani Hare Priye Vancha Kalpadarubhyasya Sindhubhya Evacha Patitana Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vatsadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Come on, all of you join. Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, all of you. So anyone, okay, there is a lot of chat. Yes, I have. Hare Krishna, Simran, yes, Hare Krishna, me too, all of you, Hare Krishna. Okay, does anyone know the chapter, second chapter name? So it's called the Summary of Gita. Now, usually in any of our chapters or any of our subjects, right, the summary comes at the end. Right? So why is summary coming in the second chapter? Because the second chapter by itself is consolidation of the entire Bhagavad Gita, right? So if you, so with the end, with second chapter, the whole Bhagavad Gita is over. Then you'll be wondering, okay, if the entire Bhagavad Gita is over, then what is, why are the other chapters spoken? So we will see that. Also, there is one concept, the soul, right, is spoken only once here, right, very clearly for the entire 18th chapter. The concept of the soul is so well explained in the second chapter, and Krishna really like speaks it one time and it is not repeated, right? So let's get into the chapter and see. This is the second largest chapter. It has 72 verses. So we'll try and see how quickly we can cover. So it is also called Observing the Armies. So we saw the first chapter. So let's do a quick recap on the Observing the Armies of the battlefield, right? So before I get into this, just a broad outline. So Dhritarashtra's inquiry is, he asks, right, Kim Akurva, what's happening in the battlefield? Duryodhana's fear, makes him really get over hyper about the whole situation. We already saw the blowing of conch shells, right? Hridaya Vyadara. So what does it mean? Like he is making the conch shells borne by the Kauravas had no impact, but Pandavas, especially Krishna, shattered the hearts of the Kauravas. We saw Arjuna's observation and what happened to his Gandiva and Arjuna's reason not to fight. Now you all tell me what are the reasons why Arjuna refused to fight? Hare Krishna. Can you all tell me what are the reasons? I don't want to highlight this. You can tell in any order.
Finding his own family in battlefield.
Yes,
Indecisiveness.
Very nice. Indecisiveness. Yes.
Compassion.
Yes, yes, Lagna. Compassion. Hare Krishna. Yes, Anoy. Hare Krishna. So 3 you told: compassion, family protection, and indecisiveness. Perfect. Anything else left?
Seen, ma'am.
How about the family? Family members.
Yes, family tradition. They told me this. Yes. Sin. Yes, Disha. That's right. Sin. Anything else? One thing we have left. What all the
No
time
enjoyment.
Perfect. Soumya, Hare Krishna. Yes, no enjoyment, right? That's the most, because every time we think of enjoyment. So let's see how Krishna counters. So quickly a recap of what we did. Compassion, no enjoyment, sin, family tradition, and indecision. So the first 4 is covered in the first chapter, which we saw yesterday. And today we are going to see the chapter where in the first two verses, Krishna is taking the role of a cousin, a family member, and he's so upset and he's scolding him. He's initially starts off with klesha, right? Klesha means impotent, and kashmalam, right? Infamity. So infamy. So why are these impurities come upon you, right? He's like asking him. And 2.6, what happens is he's totally confused. Arjuna has no idea what to do. When a typical condition situation, right? Many of us told that we are indecisive. So in 2.7, he says he surrenders to him. So 2.7 verse is complete surrender. So how we will do is I will chant the sloka and you all can go ahead and read the content, right? Hare Krishna. If anybody wants to read the sloka also, I'm totally fine. So if you all are comfortable, you all can chant the sloka also. Hare Krishna. But the text, you all start immediately. Karpanya dosha pahata swabhava prichami tvam dharma sammuda chetah yakshreya nichitam bruhi tanme shisyaste aham shadi mam tvam prapannam. Hare Krishna. Text, yeah, you all can start reading.
Mari.
Hare
Now
Krishna.
I am confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me clearly what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So he very clearly says, I'm confused about my duty and I have lost all my composure because of my weakness, right? Petty weakness of the heart, right? And I am so confused. So therefore, please tell me and I'm surrendering. This is very important because till now they were like friends and the role were more like cousins, friends, like equal. Now Arjuna surrenders and Krishna becomes like the guru, teacher. So when the moment now you can relate more like what experiences we've had with our teachers and how Arjuna surrenders. But what's more important is how Krishna teaches to be humble and how he is handling Arjuna. So you can see the relationship and their expression. I believe what I see works when your vision is perfect. Like most of the time we say seeing is believing, provided our vision is perfect. And we're going to read this, we're going to see the presentation in the 4th chapter. So what is happening is who's Krishna is what we're going to see. So can someone tell me what you can see? Can you look and tell me what you see?
Sky, ma'am.
Perfect. Thank you. Now, you see something else?
Tree.
What is this?
The parrot.
So this parrot was always there. You just couldn't see it, right? So likewise, if you see,
Oh.
Krishna has always been there. But you can see it only when you start looking at him closer. So that is what it is. So the answer is being addressed by Krishna because now he's taking over as a teacher between the 11th verse and the 30th verse. And what does he say? Bhagavad Gita 2.13. Dehino asmin yata dehi kaumaran yavvanam jara tata dehantara praptir dhiras tatrata muhyate. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, as the embodied soul continually passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. The self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we could see the soul is like completely transformation is happening from childhood, boyhood, and all this is happening, right? So there has been a change. So you don't get worried, right? So it's not like ever since you were born, you were constantly in the same body. Can you tell me, any of you all, that 10 years back you were looking just the same? Can you say that nothing has happened over the last 10 years? Yes or no? Did you change?
No, Mataji.
Yes, completely.
Yes, right. And 10
Yes,
years later, 10 years from now, will you change?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so the
Yes, ma'am,
change
will
is not
change.
bodily. We'll be constantly changing.
Change is the law of nature only.
Thanks so
So,
much. That was nice. Yes, law
yeah.
of nature. So still he is explaining, about the soul, right? Property of the soul. Chintanti sastrani nainam pavati bhavakavha na chainam kledayantyapo na soti marutaha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, the soul can never be cut into pieces by any weapon, nor can he be burned by fire, nor moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. Hare Krishna.
So they are talking about the qualities of the soul as soul. So when you kill a person, right, you kill the body, you can even burn the body, you can bury the body, you can do everything. Is there any way you can kill a soul? Is there any instrument, found both in Vedas or scientifically to kill the soul? Are you aware of any instrument or a weapon or a chemical? Does anyone know? Hare Krishna. If you don't know, you can tell, I don't know, because there's nothing found so far. So even I don't know, so they've not found this.
No, Mataji.
No, thank you so much. So this is what is happening, right? So the soul is eternal, right? You can't kill. So, so what he is trying to tell is compassion. Arjuna is having this compassion because of the fact that he feels that people, it's his own relatives, right? So if not to be his relative, he feels there are a lot of soldiers who are all going to die. And he's feeling very compassionate for them and he's not able to take the pain. But what Krishna is being told is, you don't worry, because the soul is very nice. Soul is the best thing, and nothing is going to happen to the soul. No, it's eternal and you cannot kill the soul. And there is a continuous change in the body, but the soul will never die. It's always young and eternal. Hare Krishna. So compassion, you need not worry because you can't kill the soul. So you don't have to feel compassionate about the body, because the body is just like a dress. So why you worry? Because body is just like, any chemical, right? So it doesn't matter if the body goes. Soul is always eternal and nobody can kill it. So the second question. So does anyone remember what is the second challenge which Arjuna had? Of the 5. Compassion is addressed. Do you remember what this is? No enjoyment. So we can see that.
Yes, no enjoyment.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Ato va prapsyasi swargam jitva va bhokshasi mahim tasmad utishta kaunteya nishchayatah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up and fight with determination. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So he's very clearly telling you don't have to worry. Either you will be killed, right? Or you're going to attend the heavenly planet, right? You will conquer and enjoy earthly kingdom. So you get up and fight, because he's talking like a bumper off. If he's alive, what does it mean? It means he's killed Duryodhana and he's taken over the kingdom, which means he can enjoy. In case he's dead, anyone who dies in the battlefield, in the job, right, like a Kshatriya who dies during the war, will go directly to heaven. So it's written in the Shastras. So he's telling you don't have to worry. And he still continues by explaining, Hare Krishna, Avachya vadam shabahur vadishyanti tavahitaha nindantastav samarthyam tato dukkataram nukim. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Krishna.
Your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you? Hare Krishna.
Rajachari, very lovely voice. You read, right? Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you so much. So clear. So the enemy, what? Okay, tell me now. Will the enemies tell, oh, Krishna, Arjuna is so soft, he's so compassionate, so he went? Will they say that? Or will they say, coward is Arjuna, so he ran away from the battle? What do you think they will say? What do you think Duryodhana will say? Duryodhana say, oh, he's so sweet-hearted fellow? Or will he say he is a coward and he ran away? What will he say?
He always try to pull the legs of Arjuna, ma'am. Jai Mata Di.
Exactly. So he always waits for an opportunity to work against Arjuna, right? So he's just going to crib, and all the enemies will call him with so much unkind words and will question his ability. And for a Kshatriya, unlike us, right? For us, it doesn't matter. If someone scolds us, sometimes we react. Otherwise, most of the time, we are insensitive. But for a Kshatriya, pride is very important for them. So they won't be able to take it at all. He says. So he's going to talk about what you do. So he's talking about joy, enjoyment. So he says enjoyment anyway you will get. And he says your enjoyment, it will be shame for you to live, because if you go as a sannyasi and you run away, people are going to insult you and you can't live with that. And for me, instead you can die, right? So 2.40, Hare Krishna. Neha Vikramana Sosti Pratyavayanu Vidyate Swalpam Apyasya Dharmasya Rayate Mahato Bhayat. Hare Krishna. Oh, nothing is there, sorry. So, okay, this is a story. Okay, so you'll enjoy the story. So, there is this little mouse, guinea pig, you call. This mouse seeing the lamp, right? And after seeing the lamp, the mouse is like, thinking, oh wow, this is a strawberry. Let me go and eat this strawberry. And the mouse, can you see the tongue of the mouse? Like it's like all juicy, like how we feel when we see ice creams. So it's all juicy and it is just running to the lamp. And in the process, it gets burnt and it dies. But in the process, when it gets burnt and dies, what happens is, obviously, you know that it's for food, but Krishna tells that, oh wow, the mouse is so lovable, it wants to die because it wants to save my lamb. Okay, Chitraketu, he keeps telling, and we have this whole gang, right? Yamadharma Raja, everyone keeps telling, no. It did not die. It did not sacrifice a life. It just died because it was greedy. No. The mouse is so lovely. The mouse wanted to save me. So now tell me, is Krishna wrong? Is Krishna not intelligent to know? When Yama and others know, does Krishna not know? He knows, right?
So, he knows, Mataji.
He knows, ma'am. He is the Almighty One, so he knows.
He knows, but what is there? So the third line, first word, A, right? Swalpam apyasya dharmasya. Even little bit if you do for Krishna conscious, he will do a lot. So even if it is accidental, he wants to give credits. Now same with Hanuman, right? Anger is supposed to be a quality which is bad. But Hanuman really showed so much anger and he burnt the whole of Lanka, right? And these are the things which are examples of, so this is where the mouse gets disappeared. Examples where even anger, so it happens. So for example, let's say that you have 1 crore rupee which you're making in this life. So after death and when you're reborn, can you tell for sure that you will have that 1 crore bank balance? Will you be born as a crorepati only? Can anyone?
No.
So it gets lost, right? Whereas if you do little bit of devotion, let's say that you all are all listening. So your devotion is at 25%. Touch wood, but I wish we all continue and take it to 100%. But if we don't, even in our next birth, we will continue from 21%. So it's not like from 0, right? So that's a specialty. So therefore, he is telling that, in 2.4, he's concluding the first thing, compassion he addressed. Another one, he was talking about, about the overall no enjoyment. He said you have a bumper offer whether in heaven or in hell, right? And he is now he spoke about sin. Right? So he also addressed by telling that if you do not fight, only you're a sinner, because as a Kshatriya, you're supposed to fight. But if you don't fight, what happens? It's an insult for you. People will all blame you. And that's the biggest insult, right? So, and it's better to die, right? So that's what he's saying. And the fourth one, which he's going to talk about, is family tradition. And yesterday we were all telling family tradition, we thought we were not bothered, but the whole thing we do, right? If you deeply think, is only for the family. The whole thing which we have all been doing is for family, though we may externally think we are not bothered and we are not focusing on family. As I was giving you an example of my dad, every time tells, go well dressed and come, and I always feel, okay, I'm dressed. Okay, obviously well dressed to my definition is to wear makeup, bindi, kajal, lipstick, maybe for a wedding, which probably we'll do it once a year. But we're not going to do that every day, right? So your t-shirt and shorts is the best attire which I can think of. But for the sake of family tradition, we put up with a lot of people, also relatives, right? So now what is happening is, Krishna is, all the elders will die, right, by killing, and elders are supposed to be the root map for teaching legacy. So if you see, most of the time, right, I'll take mothers for example. Can you tell me, when your mothers do puja, which book they refer? In the house you all do puja, right? So which book did your mom refer? A book of grandmom, right? Mom would have asked the grandmom and she would have followed the grandmom. Yes or no?
Yes, true, Mataji.
Yeah, so we didn't have the Google, YouTube, and even if we have YouTube, Google, even if we want to do, we look up to our parents or we look up to our grandparents or uncle and see how they give diya, how they give mangalati, and that's how we follow, right? So this is exactly what they are talking about. So, all this is family tradition. How do we get family tradition? It's only with the help of elders. So therefore, he's telling that elders are absolutely required for family tradition. And by killing elders, we will not have advice. We will not know what to do. And what will happen is women will be misleaded and people will misbehave with them. And this will result in unwanted progeny. Progeny means unwanted children. So if women are not protected or if they are not given direction, what will happen is either they become corrupt or people will exploit, and therefore that will lead to danger is what he is talking about. And Krishna is telling all this, forget about it happening otherwise, but even if you're there and if you run away as a renunciate, that will result in larger issues because your family name, what will they talk about family name? They will tell, oh, such a great son, Pandava's brother, Yudhishthira's brother, and the greatest of greatest son of Pandu ran away. This is also insulting, right, to the family tradition. So that he explains. Now coming back to indecision, I'm so confused, right? This is a state we all are there. At least once a week we are confused. Yes or no? Can anyone tell me in this room that I have never been confused and I have always been able to take perfect decision? One of you, whoever is confident, please raise your hand. No one. Somebody? Anybody? Nobody?
No, Mataji.
No one, right? So, so this is where few of us were focusing, right? Of course, compassion also we had, but we are going to the last point, 2.42. Hare Krishna. Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekeka kuru nandana bahusakyanyanantascha buddhiyo vyavasayinam. Hare Krishna. So he's telling vyavasayatmika buddhi, right? So it means ekeka kuru nandana, one focus, right? So he tells very clearly, if you have a single focus point, then it's easy. For example, if you keep Krishna in the center, right? So all of us will be peaceful. In the house also, what you're telling, see today, if you see, we have so many focuses, right? You want to study, okay? Parents want to do, mothers maybe want to, I'm not talking about your mother specifically, but generally, they have kitty parties. So they have a different concept. Now you have boys, they want to go and play sports. And the father, wants to go out with his friends. Some of the fathers even want to go to bar and drink. So there are various circles, right? So everybody's circle is different. And even our own circle is different. Today we want to study, later we want to work, and later, we want to get promotion. So we have multiple circles, which creates conflict. Vyavasaya Atmika Buddhi, very focused, resolute mind, right? So if you're resolute, for example, let's assume the entire family may do different work, but if you have a centric view of, let's say, Krishna, right? So let's say that somebody wants to, all of you want a house, but you feel you have a temple for Krishna. So it's a centric process. So what happens? The girl will as usual go, but then she'll think, okay, we're going to come back home because we'll be seeing Krishna. The father will also go, he will think, okay, let me not drink because I'm going to really insult the Paramatma in my heart. The mother will tell, kitty party, okay, but instead let me do Sangha and include my children also so that let's hear more Krishna Kathas, right? So all this will come up gradually and that's going to motivate, is what he's talking about. So so with that, we say a single point with Krishna in the center gives us so much of clarity. So with this, we have addressed all 5 challenges which Krishna which Arjuna posed to Krishna, and Krishna beautifully answered. Did you notice something? When he was a guru, he had to give a convincing answer. It is not like, we remember in school, at least I had this experience. When I asked doubt, teacher used to tell, okay, that's enough, sit down. Okay, you can go and read leisurely. I don't have time for all this. Sit down. Did you all also experience such teachers, or you all were a little lucky? Or did your teacher also explain like Krishna so well, so beautifully, point by point? I mean, anything could be possible. I'm just asking, what was the case with you all?
I have experienced both.
Experience both. That's a lovely answer. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Not every teacher is a
Both.
Krishna. Not every
Sorry, Shimam, your voice is very feeble.
Yes, am I audible? Hello.
No, it's still very faint.
It's very feeble. So maybe you should type your answer or you have to speak very close to mic. I'm sorry, just check your connections. I'll be waiting to hear or type in the chat. Okay, Hare Krishna. So that's the situation. Whereas you see Krishna consistently, and the question is not going to end in 2nd chapter. It will continue, and we'll see why it continues. But still, all through he has a lot of patience, right? So 2.55, Hare Krishna. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Prajahati Yada Kaman Sarvan Partha Manugatam Atmaneva Atmana Tushtah Sthita prajna stadochate. Hare Krishna. Can read, ma. Hare Krishna. Anybody can read.
The blessed Lord said, O Partha, when a man gives up all varieties of sense desire which arise from mental concoction, and when his mind finds satisfaction in the self alone, then he is said to be pure in transcendental consciousness.
Akshar and Anisha Reddy. Hare Krishna. Very clear. Okay, thank you. So, can anyone guess who is this small little boy? Anybody?
Prahlad Maharaj.
That was nice. Who said that?
Me, ma'am.
Saloni. Very nice. I didn't expect you to. I didn't expect anyone to answer this. Prahlad is a 5-year-old child, and the father is Hiranyakashipu who wants to kill him. Why? Because the father wants all glories to him, but Prahlad says all glories to Vishnu. So he tries various ways to kill. Can you see? They're bringing these kind of what do you call trisulas, right, to kill him, and they try and burn him. They try and throw him from a mountain cliff. They try and have him stampeded with it by an elephant, but nothing affected him. So he is like so clear, and he's an example of Vyavasaya Atmika Buddhi, right? Nothing happens, right? So that is a beautiful, because his sense desire is very much controlled. He does not have any desire except Krishna. So therefore, he is very well protected. He's telling Prajati Yada Kama. Kama means desire, right? So no kind of desire is going to be arising from him. So he can be so calm. So this is a fire which he can't burn. Nothing happened to him. One more person is Prabhupada, we told, right? So you notice, right, at the age of 69, he started exploring the world, right? Almost 25 countries. And what did he do? He went and he sustained 2 heart attacks in a cargo ship. It's not like your cruise. Cargo ships are really bad, and he managed to sustain all that. And still he spread, and he was constantly traveling. Even on the last day in his deathbed, he was trying to read and give narrations for his book, Srimad Bhagavatam. So that is so sweet of him. Hare Krishna. 2.62. Dhyayato vishayam pumshah sangateju prajayate sangat sanjayate kama krodho abhijayate. Hare Krishna. Yes,
Can I read, Mataji?
Yeah, please read. You all can take turns.
While contemplating the objects of the senses, a person develops attachment for them. And from such attachment, lust develops. And from lust, anger arises. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So whoever has not read can read the next verse, right? So we'll all take turns so everybody gets a chance. Hare Krishna. Krodhat bhavati sammoha. Sammoha smriti vipramaha. Smriti brahmsad buddhi nasho. Buddhi nasat pranashyati. Hare Krishna. When I say Hare Krishna, I should start reading.
From anger, complete delusion arises. And from delusion, bewilderment of memory. When memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost. And when intelligence is lost, one falls down again into the material pool. Hare Krishna.
So this is like, this is in connection with the previous stanza, and some Prabhu wanted to read. Prabhu, you can read the next one. So what they are telling is all like connection, right? How we from anger, delusion is coming. Anger comes, your mind is confused, right? So that prior to that, what happens? Objects, right? For example, when objects of the senses, right? Let's take an example of a TV, right? I'm just looking at the TV, and there is this very beautiful girl wearing lipstick. Now all boys look at the girl and they get attracted, and all girls also look at the girl and they get attracted because they want to see the lipstick, and they feel if they wear that lipstick, it's very nice, right? So they start developing some kind of attachment, right? Here lust refers to
Hare Krishna, Mataji, your voice is not audible, Mataji.
Is it not audible?
So it's audible. It's audible.
It's audible.
To me, ma'am.
Okay, can you set your can you check your settings, ma? Can you check your settings?
You are audible, Mataji.
Okay, sure, ma. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. So while contemplating, so what happens is you see the lipstick and you get attracted, and now you want that lipstick, you don't get the same shade, or you want the girl, right? So you don't get the same girl, so you get angry, right? And then in fact, not anger, you get desire. From desire, what happens? Lust comes, right? And because you're, you're there with anger. What happens? You're in confusion, right? Your mind is very confused, and you start bewildering. You start wondering what to do. And in that situation, what happens? Your intelligence is totally lost. Once intelligence is lost, you fall down. You just don't know what to do. People do crazy things, right? The girls will probably try cosmetics. You don't know what, and that can lead to a lip allergy or whatever. Boys go after girls, get into larger issues. All this happens. Right? So this is a beautiful tree where objects you see and you get attached, and attachment leads to desire, and desire leads to anger. Anger leads to delusion, right? Yeah, delusion means confusion. So bewilderment of memory is like really, you just don't know. You're like in a very complete fix, and loss of intelligence, and you fall, right? So this is a beautiful tree where everyone falls. So this is a chapter, and there's one point which I wanted to tell you is size of the soul, right? There is a point which tells us size of the soul, which is very important. Before I summarize, let me tell you the size of the soul is you take the hair, this end part of the hair, and you chop it into 100 pieces, right? In that you take one and you again chop it to 100. So it is basically 1 by 10,000 size of the tip of the soul. So you can imagine how tiny the soul is, right? So tiny the soul is, and then you'll know for sure such a tiny soul is cannot be even killed, right? So that's what he says. It's so powerful. You can't kill, you can't do anything. So that's a specialty of the soul. So we'll go back to a quick summary. So what are we trying to see, and what are the doubts? So Arjuna had compassion, addressed from 211 to 30, like where he says is we are not the body, we are the soul, right? He says that. And 31 to 37 is there's no enjoyment, right? Because he said there's no enjoyment. He says, don't worry, if you're alive, that means you won, because Duryodhana is not going to keep you alive if you have lost. And you will get the planet, Earth. And if you die, it doesn't matter, you will get the heaven. And fear of sinful desire activity. So what happens? Devotional service, he says there's no sin. You saw, like, we saw, in Hanuman, who burned the Lanka, there was no sin because he did out of anger, but it's not the anger which is material. It is spiritual anger, and absolutely there is no sin. And destruction of family tradition, we will cover Varna Shankara, but then probably and Varna Ashram. So what he says is you have to be a role model by doing the right activity, because a Kshatriya means has to fight, right? So if you're a doctor and doctor says, oh my God, I have to cut the hand. I like ahimsa. And the surgeon, he says, no, I will not cut the hand. Is that right? If he has to chop off the hand for making the person live, if he says, as a principle, I believe in ahimsa, I'm not going to chop his hand. Is doctor doing the right thing?
Definitely not.
No, right? So therefore, he says that that becomes a sinful activity. What if you don't? So that becomes destruction of the family. Everybody will laugh at you if you're not a Kshatriya. So all your ancestors' name and fame goes to dogs, right? So he says that's a useless thing. And in this, he's so confused. So he says, serve Lord with pure faith, clear faith. God will give you direction. If you're indecisive every time, you follow the Shastras. So here, what is Shastra? For a Kshatriya to fight is Shastra. So he will go ahead and fight, and therefore his indecision is also answered. Hare Krishna. So with this, we'll come to an end. I'll just say the prayers, and you all can type your doubts in the chat, or you can raise your hand and ask. Hare Krishna. Mancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna. All of you one time with me. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you so much. So every day I have this. Yesterday I didn't do it because I was just introducing the concept and my. So first day we normally chant 6 times. Second day we multiply. I mean we keep adding. So second time will be 6 into 2, 12 times. So today is the second. We'll chant 12 times today, and I'll be really first today. I will do one time. Me or Vijay Kumari Mataji was there.
Yes, Mataji.
You chant 12 times at the end, right? Like that, each one will take turns every day, and we will chant. Now, before that, you asked me doubts, and after we answered doubts, I'm planning to tell you a story, because today we won't have time for the big presentation. So I thought I'll tell a story. So can you all You all have any doubts so far?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Am I audible?
Very, very clear, dear. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Ma'am, just wanted to summarization of yesterday and today's session in 2 minutes only, if possible.
Yeah, sure.
Summarization. Yeah.
Yeah, so we are all entering the warfield. Okay, we are also there with Arjuna. We are standing behind, and Arjuna is actually what is happening. It starts off with the scene, Dhritarashtra asking what's going to happen, and he is asking, he's differentiating his children from the children of Pandavas, right? That shows a very bad sign, and he does not want to compromise. Now, Dhritarashtra's son is Duryodhana. He knows he will lose. That's why he says people are ready to die for him. Usually, what they'll say, usually people are ready to fight for him. You don't say die. That means he knows for a fact that they're going to die. And with the blowing of shell, it's confirmed. So he wants to provoke his own people. Beautiful politician. Duryodhana is a class A politician. If he is there today, no politician will keep up. So you see, he first goes and provokes the guru instead of taking the blessings by subtly insulting him by telling, your Sisha is going to kill, to provoke him so that he gets provoked and he's ready for a fight. Now, on the contrary, he also promotes Bhishma. He tells, oh, Bhishma, Pitama, there are powerful people like Bhima, but they are no match. Why he is telling is Bhishma is the commander-in-chief for them and Bhima is the commander-in-chief for the other side. So he's trying to tell that they are no match. And he's also trying to boost the army people by telling, all the Bhishma may be great, but he's old. So your role is very important. So each of you protect him. So simply he's trying to create hype, right? He's provoking them. He's trying to create hype and tries to do all this. So that's the first role. And then you saw Arjuna telling Krishna, please go and take the chariot in the middle of the army because I want to assess. Now, is Arjuna fighting newly? No. Is Arjuna fighting with new set of people? That also, because he knows all of them. So he already knows what is the need. And why does Krishna deliberately go and put the chariot in the middle of the field? Because he wants, and that too right before Bhishma, because he wants Bhagavad Gita to come. So he gets there and immediately Arjuna starts crying, putting the Gandiva bow down. And there is, from here on, so second chapter starts off, so he starts 4 things, which is compassion, sin, family, tradition, and, no enjoyment. And the last one is indecisiveness, which comes in the second chapter. First chapter it ends, second chapter is indecisiveness. Starts with Krishna fighting with him or scolding him like a friend. And then Krishna, once he surrenders, he starts advising him, telling about the quality of the soul. He says 2 sides of people. So if you are a believer that you will be reborn, then you don't have to worry because you're just changing your body when you're born. So its comparison is like a shirt. You don't cry if your shirt is lost, but if you believe that that life is not going to be reborn and we are just made of chemicals. We saw yesterday, right? Cost of chemical is 215. Will any of you cry if a rinse soap is fallen in your kitchen and it's lost? Will anyone cry? Anyone here cry? I cry, oh my God, my rinse soap. I lost my rinse soap. Anyone? All of you will cry. You're so silent. Yes or no? No.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
And Hare Krishna. Mataji, one more question is.
One second. Let me finish.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So he says nobody cries. So either case you don't have to worry about compassion, And then sin, no, you will not incur sin because if you kill, that's your Kshatriya dharma. And also no enjoyment, no, you go to heaven or you go to hell. And the last one is, about family tradition. He says, no, if you run away, only people will talk bad of your family. If you fight, it's perfect. And indecision, he says, Vivasaya Atmira Bhukhi, single focus point. So there'll be no confusion. Hare Krishna. Yes, ma. Go ahead. Did I summarize? Did you all understand the flow?
Yes, Mataji, totally agree. And yeah, one more question from my side is,
Sure.
As you said, the soul has, it cannot be neither destroyed nor created, right? So as we heard about like the soul, if we take a 7 born, after that, that what happened to that soul? Like, is it a form of energy which actually never destroyed, whether we take 7 born or n number of borns, or is it having any kind of limitation that after this much born, the soul will be nullify or end for a lifetime?
I'm going to ask you the same question, which you're going to answer. Okay, if anyone fails, they have a retest, yes or no? Yes, right? So
yes.
There are specific attempts. So let's assume that the number of attempts is 5. I'm just taking a number, right? So if the number of attempts is 5, if the person fails all the 5 times, will he be automatically promoted on the last attempt or will he be not allowed? Will he be automatically?
Not allowed.
Right? Huh?
Not allowed.
Not
Will
allowed.
be not allowed, right? Thank you so much. Same way. So just because you are born and just because there is no number, right? You can be born even million times. So there is no number. It's not like 10 times only you can be born. And if irrespective of whether you're born number of times, there is no upper limit on the number of times you're born. But if you do not pass, like if you're not doing the right thing, then you will go down. It is not that, your body means once lifelong, you're going to be human body and you'll be born. No. We are going to see that gradually. Just hold for some more chapters. We are at the second chapter. So Shivam, if it's okay, take some more time because
Yes, totally agree, ma'am. Yes, Hare
today is
Krishna.
a quick summary. You will understand more. If I try and answer this question now, it will be like too much of jiffy. Whether we'll go and merge into light or what will happen to us, wait for some more chapters and we'll go. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Any other doubts? If there are no other doubts, I want to ask you a question. Anybody here feels that Krishna has selected Arjuna and that's a perfect choice? Or anyone feels that Arjuna is not better and somebody else could be better? You can openly answer. There is absolutely no right answer or wrong answer. Does anyone feel that Arjuna could be, somebody else will be better than Arjuna? Anybody here? Okay, anybody feels that somebody else could be better than Arjuna?
No, Mataji.
Anybody else? At least one of you feel that somebody else could be better?
No, ma'am.
Who could be that?
No, ma'am. Arjuna is the best.
Krishna over army.
Ma'am, you are asking this question that Arjuna, somebody could be better than Arjuna as a warrior or irrespective
Yeah.
of...
Is there anybody else who's better than Arjuna whom Krishna could have chosen to tell Bhagavad Gita?
No, ma'am, because Krishna has devotee of Arjuna. Arjuna was devotee of Krishna.
Correct. Very nice, actually. That comes in
He chose above him over army.
Exactly. Very beautiful point. That is lovely. First time I'm coming across a team which has so much of realization. I'm so happy. Yes, he chose him because he's a devotee and a friend, and he chose him over an army, right? So that's a great point. And I will also tell you an example because there are classes when I've taken, people have brought up Karna. They have said Karna could be chosen, and people have brought Yudhishthira, right? So I will anyways tell the story of Arjuna.
I believe that Karna was better warrior than Arjuna.
Okay, so we'll wait for the stories to open up and we will know who's a better warrior. So, so that is one. To choose a person between Arjuna and Karna who's a better warrior, I will address that tomorrow. But to choose a person, you don't necessarily have to be a better warrior. You have to have a relationship. Just to address directly with Karna, in fact, like, okay, I'm going to ask you one simple line. You have a best person. You have 3 friends, okay? You have someone who's so understanding and you know that whatever you tell, she's going to understand so perfectly. You have a person who's better than her and you have another person who's worse than her. So of the 3, whom will you choose? An average person who can perfectly understand you, or a better person who is super intelligent, or an average person? Whom do you choose?
The person who will understand me.
Absolutely. So you're not choosing the best here. You're choosing someone who can understand you, who's your close friend, right? Whom you can share confidentially. So because every time it's not about the best. So here I'm not going to, this is not that I'm saying that Arjuna is not the best or Karna is better than him. That I will address tomorrow. So here, just like us, right? So we need someone who's very confidential to share our secrets. Who is Krishna?
It's about, I guess, compatibility.
Absolutely. I think you nailed it. It's about compatibility. I think they had a great compatibility. That's one prime reason, Shivam, for choosing. So, and not only that, he's a great devotee. Let's see, not just from one to, there's this issue like after the war was won, and Krishna went to Dwaraka and Arjuna comes to visit Krishna. So from that time onwards, Krishna is constantly accompanying Arjuna and he takes him to a palace. Like we have guest room, they have guest palace, right? Such a huge palace. And Arjuna and Krishna keep talking, and they lose sense of time and they become so tired, and Krishna and Arjuna both sleep. Rukmani here is waiting, not Rukmani, Satyabhama is waiting, and she's waiting and she's wondering what happened. That Krishna has not come. And Satyabhama always believes that she loves him a lot, right? And it's true. So next day when Krishna comes, Satyabhama tells, if it's current generation, the girl will go and fight and she'll tell, what's wrong with you? Why are you sleeping here? Come here, right? Those times. So they maintain a little more decorum. So she's waiting and she waits for Krishna to come the next day and she asks. So Krishna smiles and tells, okay, today I'm not going. Okay, you go. She says, no, how can I go? That to a guy's room. He says, I'm only telling you, you go. You'll understand. So she goes. And Krishna says he'll stay. Now she goes outside the room and she hears two people speaking. One is Arjuna, and she hears the voice, right? She hears voice of someone speaking. And she's outside. Whom do you think will be inside the room? Don't tell Arjuna. Obviously, Arjuna is there. Hare Krishna. This is one of my favorite stories. Nobody is guessing. Who's inside in the guest palace? If you don't answer, I will not continue the story. Answering. I'm going to stop. You can take a guess. I don't know still answer. Krishna himself, okay. Tanvi, Hare Krishna, Tanvi, so sweet. Okay, Krishna, Hare Shivam, you typed all the answers. Compassion, sin, no enjoyment, loss of family, tradition, and indecision. So nice. I just noticed now. Okay. Krishna himself, okay. Tanvi is saying that Krishna is there. Any other options? Anybody else has any other doubt? Right? So now Rukmini goes inside. She wants to see who it is. And she's going here, there, and Arjuna is sleeping. He's like rock dead. He's like sleep dead. And she's still hearing the voice. So she's searching here, she's searching there. She's also having the same doubt whether it's Krishna. Now you can keep typing in the chat, whom and all you all doubt. She's searching, and she can't find anyone. And as she's going closer to Arjuna, Arjuna's lip is closed and he's fast asleep, but there is this voice speaking. Right? And then she goes, and why she gets more irritated is also because of the fact, not just Krishna is sleeping. When she comes to the room, she just noticed that Krishna is here and Arjuna here, right? They tend to talk. And when they're sleeping, they sleep. And Arjuna's leg is close to Krishna's face. It's here. It's not touching the face, but then it's like really close. Obviously, when you sleep, you don't concentrate much. That put her off. She says, how can he, even I don't do it. How can Arjuna do that? She couldn't digest. So now as she went there and she could hear somebody's voice, that time she heard that Arjuna is sleeping, but his legs, the nerves are also telling Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. He's so, he's like really mad. Satatam Yuktanam, like all the time he's only thinking of Krishna. Even in his sleep, even his nerves are, palpitating the name, right? The beat is there, right? So that's also giving out Krishna's name. That is a devotion. And she comes back to Krishna and says that Arjuna is the biggest devotee. I've always thought I'm the best. And now I understand that Arjuna beats Krishna also. Arjuna beats, why I'm telling beats also in the sense he's like so fond. And Krishna just doesn't do this as favor, right? He loves him so much because Krishna reciprocates so much, which we are going to see in 4th chapter. Wait till then. So this very clearly tells that Arjuna is just not a friend, but also a devotee of Krishna, which very nicely you also told that he chose him over an arm. That was a very lovely realization. First time someone has brought up this point. I've been in my advanced class. I've done level 1 classes, some of level 3 classes also. And 18 days class I've been doing for a while. Not a single person has ever told me this reason, but that's a very beautiful point. Thank you so much, Hare Krishna. Is there any other doubt? If you all don't have any doubts, we can end the session. I promise you all I will end at 4, so I'm ending much before 4.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Anisha has a doubt, Mataji. 1 minute.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So she speak. So she said, how Krishna says to Arjuna, you can, for dharma's sake, you have to kill. This is the right path, right? So these days, people take it in the wrong way. For spiritual reasons, they say that, oh yeah, you can kill. Does that question make sense? Is that right?
No, I don't get your question actually.
Okay. Can you say, how do you uphold these days? Can you word it properly?
No, I don't really understand what you're trying to explain to me. How these days means because Arjuna killed, why can't I kill? Is that what you're asking?
Yes. Oh, so,
okay.
Killing someone and they say, oh, for spiritual reasons, it's okay.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you one question, which you're going to tell me in one line. A military guy. So I already told you all, right? We are all in the battlefield. So imagine at the battlefield. So we imagine we are all in Pakistan border because you can relate. We all can relate, right? In the Pakistan border, the military guy is taking the gun. Okay, and he says that, oh my God, the Pakistani guy is also looking like an Indian, or I'm feeling bad. He's a human being. I don't want to kill. And he turns to you and says, I'm sorry, I'm not going to kill. How will you feel? Imagine the Pakistan guy has taken the gun. It's not a settlement, right? He's taken the gun and he's going to kill. and you're behind. So if the commander-in-chief moves, the bullet is going to come onto all of you. And you're not alone, you have your entire family. Your mama is there, your papa is there, your friend is there, everybody is there. Your friends are there, your relatives are there, everybody have come to the battlefield. How will you feel? Will you tell the commander-in-chief the great job, or will you tell him take the pick and fight?
No, we won't say great job.
So what Arjuna is doing is the same thing. Now the same commander-in-chief is now going to be your tenant, right? He's living in your neighbor or a neighbor. Okay, and he wants everything perfect. Now, there is a fight in your house and your mom and dad fight. All parents fight. And commander-in-chief is so principled and he wants to find witness there. And he sees that if there is anyone who's wrong, he wants to take the gun and shoot. Are you okay with that? Are you okay with that?
No.
Right? So what we will tell is you stay out. In the border, you fight your enemy. This is my house. We may be enemies inside the house, but you have no entry in my house. Yes or no? The same person, commander-in-chief, you're also same, but your views are entirely different when you see the enemy as an outsider and when you see an enemy inside the house. Yes or no? So why I'm saying is, even the commander-in-chief, even if he shoots somebody, he will be in bars because he does not have the authority to shoot someone in the civil law. Why I'm saying that is, Arjuna is a Kshatriya. Today, nobody is a Kshatriya. So we don't have a right to fight. But however, people have the right. For example, judge does have the right to give a hanging. So if whomever you are telling, I have the right to kill, he doesn't have the right to kill. Arjuna had a right to kill because he was a Kshatriya. Likewise, today also judge has the right to kill. He can give hanging, he can give life sentence, right? Nobody scolds him, nobody blames him. So whoever is going to tell that I want to kill someone, tell them to be a judge, become a judge, and he has a right to kill, or ask them to become an officer. Yes. But you and me cannot go and tell, okay, I'm a teacher, I will kill. Spiritual reason you can kill. There's no spiritual reason to kill. This is Varna Ashram. This is his rule, this is his duty. Just like how you and I, you have to study as a student. I'm going to be teaching now in Bhagavad Gita. We have to do our duty. Likewise. That's the thing. Did I answer you?
Yes. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Since we know that Krishna directly or indirectly controls everything, so is there any chance that maybe Arjuna's turmoil was the reason that the Bhagavad Gita could be taught so sweet here? Tanvi, I'm having such lovely realized souls here. Yes, Bhagavad Gita. That's why Krishna says before it started, he tells, behold Arjuna, which means his mind is thinking before that Krishna found out. But in spite of that, why did he go and put keep the chariot in the middle? He could have kept it before Duryodhana or Dushyadan, right? Who pulled Draupadi's hair because that will come in his mind. But he kept before Dronacharya and Bhishma because he will start feeling. So it's all Krishna's play, so that otherwise which will come in the fourth chapter. You'll have more clarity. Only then Bhagavad Gita will be spoken, right? So that's all a part of Krishna's, Leela. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Any other questions? Are there any other questions? I assume there are no more questions. Mohandas Prabhu, you can stop recording, and Vijay Kumari Mataji, you can chant. I will pause, and you can go ahead and chant 12 times.